Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar from Exploration Insights at the Metal Investment Forum in Vancouver, and today I have Morgan Poliquin. Morgan, the CEO of Azucar Minerals. Azucar Minerals, actually exploring for porphyry coppers, dedicated now to a project called El Cobre in the state of Veracruz. And you haven't had a lot of news lately, but you've been set up with a placement by a major copper gold producer. Can you give us a little bit of a background on where Azucar is right now?
Great, yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Well, it's sort of 25 years in the making for me personally. The El Cobre project is a gold-rich copper porphyry district, we believe. We've got about 5 kilometers of strike length and porphyry mineralization and alteration exposed along that distance. And historically, it was part of a larger project, and this copper gold rich porphyry environment wasn't the focus of the previous work. And so we got the project back, as it were, 100% from some previous joint ventures, and started working on it in a challenging time in 2013. And we finally were able to put in some holes that really defined the potential, I think, in 2015 and 2016. And kept going with that drill program through 2017. And you're right, Newcrest Mining, one of the largest gold miners in the world, who operate a number of gold-rich porphyry systems, that's their bread and butter, approached us and said they were interested in participating. And so we had a spin-out, and so all our exploration projects and royalties went into a new company, Almadex Minerals, whereas now we're entirely focused with $18 million initial investment from Newcrest on the exploration program at El Cobre. So now we're kind of a single project-focused company in Azucar.
So right now, you're cashed up, right? How much money do you have in the kitty now?
Absolutely. At the last quarter, not down to the penny, but we were about $17 million, and we're entirely focused on the exploration of this one project with that treasury.
And prior to, I believe, doing the deal with Newmont, you went out of your way to try and permit a whole bunch of drill pads in this area. Now you're set up for a lot of drilling, potentially, at Azucar. Not only do you have the money for it, you've got the targets, but now permitting-wise, you're pretty good.
Yeah, we've had a number of exploration drill permits on the project throughout the years, and you're right, we have the ability to go and drill on this project for the foreseeable future with our treasury and with our. It's a very easily accessed area. We're basically 200 meters above sea level and about 7 to 10 kilometers from major infrastructure, highways and deep sea port and pipelines and all those sorts of things. So it's a very easy to access, not infrastructure challenged area at all.
So what do you think, like Newcrest, looking at what you have, what would have been their interest in the El Cobre project? What sparked or motivated them to put in that amount of money into Azucar?
Well, I think we share, my impression is we share the same views on the project, and that is that it's a very unexplored region, and what we have is the very top of these porphyry systems exposed. And Newcrest's bread and butter was a gold-rich porphyry system in Australia called Cadia, and it started with a very small open pit that was under 0.2 copper, I believe, and about half a gram or a little higher, I think, gold, 170 million tons. And then they found a deep, high-grade, about 80 million tons, but initially 50 million tons, gold-rich porphyry system that they sub-level caved called Ridgeway. And now they've found a 3 billion ton huge deposit in the same district. And that all happened over 5 kilometers, and it happened over 25 years. And so I think what you can say about gold-rich porphyry systems of this geochemical character is they have a tendency to grow, and if you are at the top of them, there's a tendency for them to grow down. And so we have all the indications along that 5 kilometers. We have multiple different porphyry centers, and they're at different levels of erosion, but they're all very high in the system. So we have the entire depth potential to play with, and we've already got some very significant grades that indicate that high grade potential to date. depth, as well as surface potential as well. For example, we hit about 70 meters in hole 1726 last year of around over 2 grams gold and 0.6% copper. And so that doesn't happen, that doesn't fall out of the sky. It's coming up from somewhere. We've never drilled underneath that hole. And so I think what they see is they're not afraid of deep targets. They're an investor in Sol Gold, and they have these huge block cave resources in the world, another one in New Guinea, and they find these things through drilling to depth. And that's our mandate here, as well as looking at, obviously, the open pit potential.
So geopolitical risk is obviously a big issue for these majors in terms of acquiring projects or advancing them. Obviously, Newcrest is in Ecuador, which is probably a little bit more risky than Mexico, but Mexico has recently had an election. So can you let us know, like in terms of the new president that's coming in December, the implications on your project and working in Veracruz with changing government, not only federally, but also at the state level?
Yeah, obviously these people haven't taken office yet, the new people who are elected, and we're very hopeful that things will be very positive in Mexico, and we think we have very good reason to be hopeful. There's been a number of, again, these people haven't entered office and their policies haven't hit the road yet, but the public statements are very encouraging. We don't expect significant changes to the Mining Act. There has been a new royalty a couple of years ago that was instituted in mining, and that involves a significant, for the first time ever, a revenue stream, a tax revenue stream to the municipality and the state level for mining. It used to be just entirely a federal income tax issue. And I think that mining is seen, if I may say so, my interpretation of what the new governments have said is that mining is seen as an opportunity for growth in the country, and they would like to see good mining practice and investment in that sector, because we've seen a lot of money leave Mexico over the last little while. And I think they'd like that to come back, and it's something that they can encourage back. Manufacturing, we won't get into international politics, but manufacturing is an area that is very competitive, whereas mining is a place where you can attract a good, clean investment to your country, and in particularly in rural areas that are challenged. So I think they see it that way too, and we're very hopeful. In Veracruz, for example, it's a resource development state. There's a nuclear power plant, there's gas lines, there's major oil development. So it has a long history of resource development that's been very positive. And so mining isn't something that the state is known for, but we think in the context of that significant resource development historically that we're in a great place to invest.
Okay, so real quickly, like going forward, fully financed, drilling, so what should we expect over the next 6 to 12 months from Azucar?
Well, we would like to be reporting on our ongoing multiple drill program regularly now. We've laid out a number of holes. We've gone through a geologic review of all the data over the last couple of years, and we feel, as I mentioned with the high-grade intercept earlier, we feel that we have very discrete and obvious targets to follow up in some areas. In other areas, it's first pass drilling, where we have clearly another porphyry center and an alteration zone where we're just putting the first holes in. And in the case of Villarrica, target 2 kilometers south of the Norte zone, where that high-grade intercept I mentioned came from, we have an enriched copper zone at surface and hypogene that's disconnected from it at depth. So there's lots of puzzle pieces to figure out, but it's over 5 kilometers and will be progressive. We'll be reporting on it as we go through this next, I would say, couple of years of exploration.
Great. Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you very much.
Great. It's Joe Mazumdar from Exploration Insights at the Metal Investment Forum with Azucar Minerals CEO Morgan Poliquin. Thank you very much.